When was the last? How long has it been since you guys have had non-industry jobs? And if it's last week, like me and Brandon, that's totally fine.
It was
We'd
2 days ago for me. I was bartending 2 nights ago.
We'd love to have you guys down here with us.
What was that? Right before I moved here, so about 15 years ago.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
My first job in LA was being the office manager of an animation studio, but before that, I guess it would be before I moved to LA, which is 2013.
So 7 years?
7 years. Is that how time? Yeah.
Math.
I'm just here for that.
Dude, you're good at math.
Look at old
You're good.
calculator.
He's wearing glasses.
Yeah, it's just a glass.
I would say like 12 years ago, I worked at Yoga Works, and I opened the studio every morning at like 5 a.m.
So that's great. So do you guys
Thank you.
do you guys
so
each
much.
have like sorry, money talk. Writing wise, do you have a number of gigs you got to hit in a year to survive? Acting wise, do you have a number of guest stars? Directing wise, do you have a number of episodes you got to? Do you guys have a formula to that? Do you guys pour a bunch into a savings and just live off that for time in the slow times, or?
I am currently living off my savings, and I'm very lucky enough that between like just little things I do here and there, and the fact that I'm like an unwed, young, single man who lives very cheaply in LA, it's like... and that's the end of what I was going to say. I'm a single, handsome, really talented, tall, kind of...
Living off my savings.
Yeah, very rich, very big dick.
Are you checking your watch to see your dick size?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, my dick is 11.32 inches long.
That's a new Apple Watch. It measures your dick size.
No, but the fact that it's like I don't have a lot of expenditures means I can like work one WGA job a year and be pretty set. Especially like I worked on a late night show where it's just like week after week you're getting paid. And it's like that's good money, and it's like
for everyone to get an understanding. And again, I don't want you to put you in an uncomfortable situation.
Please.
What would one WGA job a year equal?
Oh, I will gladly. Before taxes, I hate saying this. Before taxes, because WGA scale is about $4,200 a week for a staff writer before any like agency or tax cuts or whatever. So for a good year, tax cuts. A good year of that writing is maybe $300,000.
You said maybe.
Yes.
Like. The maybe implies to me like barely 300.
No. When I say that, it's like you have to factor in like the amount of times where it's like, oh, they're not shooting these 2 weeks.
Yeah, you also have
like,
to work that entire year.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and it's like then also you have again like I have agents, managers, and a lawyer that's a cut away, and then tax held and whatnot, and
You
so
pay
it's
the
not.
agents you don't like? You pay the agents that you don't
Don't
like?
you dare!
Lindsay, is there a number? Is there? Do you
I
set
know-
it up like that in your brain of like I need to book this much?
Well, I assume nobody does. This is just my formulaic way of looking at
I'm
it.
just
but
trying to yes and your dumb question. Don't call it out. Sorry, there's more between me and Mike.
I find that it's gotten much more difficult to be kind of like a working actor. As that, like when I first started, I could book like 3 guest stars a year and be kind of okay because, I mean, that's like just kind of making health insurance, and it's hard to book a guest star, like especially when you're first. I'm like, oh my god, I still jump up and down whenever I book a role. I still get as excited as I did when I first booked something. But
That's beautiful. You're the optimist. She's
lovely.
the optimist on
I know,
the panel.
like-
I love it.
but like they used to pay well and used to get residuals, and I've done a couple.
I'm just gonna just so we can have the same mirror.
Yeah,
Is there-
numbers.
Oh,
Specifically,
a number. Okay, so
to the cent.
I think for a guest star on a drama for a network show is about $7,000 for the
week.
The week, and sometimes it's like 10 days. Like it's it's an 8-day shoot.
days,
yeah. And for a comedy on a network show, I think it's 5,000, something like that. It's 5,200 maybe, I forget. But the residuals used to be so good for like. I mean, I lived off like a Law and Order Special Victims Unit for like a year.
That's my first credit is Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Oh my
And they
God.
say crime
Mine
doesn't
too.
pay.
My dick is so big.
But I don't know. Like those residuals just don't happen anymore. It's just different.
It's all streaming now. Yeah.
It's streaming. Like Netflix. I've never gotten a residual for Grace and Frankie.
You've never gotten a residual for Grace?
They're just starting to come now, but like pennies, honestly. Like it's so crazy. And I'm a guest star, and I've been on over 20 episodes, and it's really like it is not much money.
But
Honestly,
do you get
like
a free subscription to Netflix?
no, I pay for that shit. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That actually
question?
surprises
That's
me.
shocking. To me.
That is shocking. I feel like they give that in like gifting suites. They just give you like a.
You can type in password 123 with any email and get a free subscription.
And they say Netflix doesn't pay for guest stars, so it's the production company or the studio that's paying for the guest
interesting.
stars, and they say they don't have any money, and so that's why on so many shows on Netflix you find that people are written out of the show, and they just don't even care because Netflix shows only stay on. They don't make money past having a show on for 3 years. That's what I've just learned. That's why Grace and Frankie is not going to be on after the 8th season or something. I hope I'm allowed to say that, but
I think it's been announced.
no, but it's like it's the most popular show on Netflix, yet they're not making money on it apparently.
That's crazy talk.
Yeah, and like Jane and Lily want to keep Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. They want to keep going. Like they want to keep doing the show. I did not know that, and it's like no, they're just ending it.
Wow. How about you, Payman? What's your number?
Well, for me personally, like I feel like every job is maybe the last one because I go through this fear where I'm like, am I a diversity hire? Every time you can laugh, it's okay. I said it.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I didn't say it. It's okay.
No, there's so many times where I'm like, they probably felt so good when they hired me, or when I walked in, they're like, oh, great, we got one. But DGA, the rates are good. I've heard the residuals the same. Used to be like amazing. Like they're still okay, but I heard they used to be magical. But for DGA, if you direct a network, because I've only done single camera half hour. I have no idea what hour long people make. If you do an episode, it starts for the week of prep and the week of shoot. It's like $33,000 for 2
Holy
weeks.
shit.
It's a lot. And then for basic cable, I think it's like $19,000
For 2 weeks is a typical structure of that's the amount of time they're hiring
for a half hour show.
Is
You
your
prep for 4 days and you shoot for 5 days.
Well, with the edit is not part of it.
The edit is part. It's all part of it.
It's all part of it.
It's
Okay.
all part of it. And then
Yeah.
you're allowed 2 days to edit.
Okay.
And then you get nothing the first time it airs, and then you start to get residuals every time after that. But for me, I just have to stay busy, or I lose my mind. That's basically what it is.
Can I just say that, like, as we talk about this, I keep thinking about the fact that it's like we talk about these projects we've worked on where they pay us, and then they're just like, no. And I'm like, the amount of money that is being put into these productions is unconscionable for them to then just go like,
Scrap.
no.
It's crazy.
Insane.
Just the amount of money they spend on the food and all the
Yes.
things on set. You're like, there's a lot of money being blown. And
love food.
the travel and everything. They put
That's what
people
this is
up.
about.
Yeah.
It's also so
Should we talk
weird.
about Crafty?
Oh, let's talk about it.
Fruit snacks.
That's my
love to
production
be a part
company's
of one
name.
someday.
She's Crafty. My last name's Kraft. Everyone's like, "Where's Crafty?" I'm like, "Right here."
You just stand by the table.
You
It's
do
like,
that at every show.
I do. I say it every time. But what's so crazy is that when I was writing this thing for CBS, and I'm getting all of these notes, like every week, I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, getting these notes, and I was like, okay, and I just go back in there and write these notes, and then all of a sudden there's a no, like they're like, we're not making it. I'm like, what were all those notes for? For who? For what? What? Like, no, why? Like now there's this show that exists like in a script form that's for nobody.
It is shocking because it must tell you how much money they have.
Yeah.
That they're willing to shoot 8 episodes of a show, and they're like, we're not going to do anything with that. That is,
It's weird. And it's
tough to conceive.
Yeah. It's a good show.
It's also
We'll
insane.
never know
The
that
actors, the actors were so good in it. It's such a bummer.
And it's their way of going, we know that we spent this much money on it, but we don't think that airing it will make us any, or like they'll be like, well, the marketing of it will just not weigh out the cost that we've already spent. And I'm like, it's just insane.
Which is
it
odd
has to
because
be.
from my end, where I make most of my money as a commercial actor, that if they can't even say, and there's not nearly the money I used to make as a commercial actor,
Right.
so if they have this product and they can't even recoup it from putting the show out there, it's not because commercials are suddenly costing so much. You know what I'm saying? Who is getting all of this money? What is where? Guys, where's the money?
No, the first movie I did, like the first big movie I did, was with Uma Thurman and Colin Firth, and I was like, I have arrived. I was like, it was like Sam Shepard, which is like
Jesus.
It was
Jesus,
rest
sorry,
in peace. It was like all these famous. I was like the only not famous person in the movie, and I went. They flew me to New York. I shot this movie. I could not believe my life, honestly. And then it was the Yari Group was this company. And the Yari Group went bankrupt, and the movie never came out, and that was it. It was like, and then I was like back at ground zero. I had nothing.
And the worst part about that too is you guys even in all these other shows, you put in all this work, and like, I hate to think about people back home, but like you're working, but people back home don't get to see any fruits of your labor, and you're like, Mom, I'm doing stuff. I promise you.
Amount of jokes that I've written for this show where I'm just like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever written, and I can't show it to anyone because I'm like, well, here's episode 7. Out of context, the joke doesn't work. I'm just like, no one will ever know that I did.
Yeah.
It pisses me off so much.
Yeah.